All right, we are live. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining in. I do hope you all can see us. I'm going to again copy the link, put it on my Facebook page so you all can join in the interview with the incomparable Miss Fouchina Kirkendoll. We
To God be the glory.
We are here, and I am so happy to be with her, especially today, because this is her 5th year anniversary with Chronicles as a Favored Woman.
Of a favorite woman, yes.
Favored Woman, yes. Awesome. That is an awesome, awesome platform. She has done so many things. She actually just completed a huge event in Georgia. But as we go through the interview, I will let her tell you all about that. So I don't know if you all know, but we met about a year ago,
That's
and
more
we
than a
met.
year now.
Has it been more than a year?
Oh, it's
Well, maybe
because
2 years. Okay, yeah, maybe 2 years ago.
we did her story, and that was
Yes,
I
yes,
want to say
international platform.
I want to say that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, I want to say no, it wasn't a year. It's about 3 years.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
I
See,
think
time
it's
flies.
let's see
Time
these.
flies.
Yeah, because this is 2024. I think
24.
we were in 2021 ish. 2022. It's yeah.
Yeah, we were near the end. Right. You're right. We were near the end of 2021 because it was
Yeah.
before I went. It was before I went to LET, and I went to LET February 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's okay. It's been a few years. I'm off. Way off.
That's all right, but you know what? Is time goes by so fast. I mean, nowadays when we couldn't remember days, now we got to say like, wait a minute, what year was that again? So yeah.
Yes. So okay, I'm putting the link for her interview in there. Okay. So Miss Fucina, please
Yes.
tell us how you got started with the Chronicles for a Favored Woman platform. How did
Well,
that come
first of all, thank you for having me. I consider a privilege and an honor when someone asks me to be on a platform, and it's Chronicles of a
about?
Favorite Woman. Um, and it started off with a thought. I was in church many, many years ago. And I just remember, I just knew that God was unctioning me to do what I love to do best, talk, and he wanted to use that as a way of helping other women, and the best way to help them was to share my story. But I will go even further back than that. I remember driving home when I went to college. This time I was taking it seriously because I was paying
Mhm.
for it, and I remember having a vision. I remember God giving me a vision. And it was a vision where I was on a stage with people. And I didn't really, I didn't say anything about the vision I had. But the very next day, I got a phone call from a very dear friend of mine in Jersey. He was in Jersey City. He's no longer with us, but he said, Sheena, I had a dream about you last night. And I said, well, what did you dream? And he said, I had a dream that you was on a stage, and it was thousands of people, and everybody was tuned into what you were saying. That caught me off guard because I was like, I never told him about that vision I had, but it was confirmation on what God wanted me to do. And believe it or not, I still went on years and didn't do anything with it. I just continue to do what I did. I'm always an advocate for the underdog. I'm always the advocate for those who don't have a voice. And I did that through nonprofit, through fundraising. I just did it. And when the time came, I was in church. I'll never forget it, in North Charleston. And I just remember something just hitting me from that sermon he was doing. And I just started writing and writing and writing and writing. And I put it in a notebook, and I chucked it. I didn't do anything with it. I did. And then as time went on, I saw there was a radio talk show. Now, in between that time, I got introduced to radio a long time ago because of the job that I did. It required me to be on TV and required
Mhm.
me to, always speaking, whether I liked it or whether I volunteered or was voluntold. So finally, Blog Talk Radio came up, and I said, I got something to say. And I created Blog Talk. I created my account in Blog Talk in 2012, and I did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing with it. And a part of it was ignorance, and a lot of it was fear. And within
Mhm.
that time, I was still talking to women. And one day, I just started sharing my story. It was a new beginners class. And I just started sharing my story. And one of the things that I felt hung up on was, how am I saved and I'm still addicted to sex? How am I saved and I'm still addicted to, this, or I'm still doing this and I'm still doing
Mhm.
that? And
Mhm.
because before, people would put me in like groups, but an addiction is an addiction, but it's not the same addiction.
Right.
you know. So you're not going to understand how I'm saved, but yet I'm still addicted to sex. You're not going to
Mhm.
understand why I do certain things because you haven't walked a mile of my shoe.
Right. Because saved doesn't mean that we're perfect all of a sudden. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
It
I was
doesn't
saved,
work
but I
like
wasn't
that.
delivered.
Right.
But I knew I that was a hiccup for me, and I didn't like the idea because I wanted to do more for God, but I
Mhm.
felt like that hindrance was keeping me, or I felt like I wasn't deserving of doing that until finally I just started sharing my story. And once I started sharing my story, people were like, "Wait a minute, you too?" I know what that's like. And it
Mhm.
opened my eyes up. I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of us feel like we're alone. Like we're
Mhm.
going through this by alone. So we keep quiet, we feel intimidated, we feel this. And I said,
Mhm.
God, once you deliver me, not if you deliver me, once you deliver me, I will be a voice piece. I love to talk and I don't mind standing the gap. I don't mind defending, you know, um, and I will help anyone who wants to be helped.
Yeah.
I will encourage anyone. But if you want to be helped, I don't force. I'm like Jesus. I'm not gonna force myself on you. But if you come to me, please be prepared for truth. If you want me to fluff stuff, I'm not that chick. I'm not her. I'm not her. But I went on, and I just remembered I relocated to Georgia from South Carolina, and I just
Mhm.
remembered channel surfing one time, and I came across Steve Harvey show at night, and he had Tyra
Mhm.
Banks on it, and
Yeah.
they were talking about how they just took a leap of faith and just doing something different, and
Yes.
I saw where it was Tyra Banks. She does modeling and, try
Right.
to act and all of that.
Mhm.
And
She
I noticed
she
that,
hosted some show. She
yeah,
hosted one of those talent shows, something. I think it
yeah,
was.
uh-huh. And I just remember her deciding that she wanted to start a makeup line and was totally outside of what she did. So she went
Mhm.
to school, did what she needed to do, and she did. And I remember the one thing that caught me off guard, not got me, but caught me was she said she decided to take a leap of faith. She decided to go to the end of the cliff, close her eyes, hold her breath, and jump. And it was
Mhm.
then I said, I'm setting a date. And I set the date for August 11th, 2020.
Mhm.
I was 2019 at that time. I knew because God was already saying it's time for you to share. And I just kept, finding a reason not to do it.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I would
Mhm.
never commit. But it was at that moment I was like, okay, I looked at the count August 11th, 2019. And after that, I contacted a very dear friend of mine and told her what was going on. And just so happened, she was, she speaks as well, and she was asked to speak, and she was going through some stuff at that particular time. And she said, um, I got like 15 reasons why I don't want to speak. I said, yeah, that's gonna be the title of my first show. I was like, how do I, because I was wondering how should I start the episodes with. So of course I
Mhm.
spoke with her, and she was the one. She was the guest. She was my very first guest, and that is Karen Denise Jones, and I still love her to life. But she did my first show. In fact, she's been an integral part of the show for so many years. Uh, and I just started talking. I started talking about reasons why people choose not to do the stuff that they do, to do the things that we do. We've been called to do something, and we will find every reason not to do it. But what I
Because instead of us listening to God's voice, we keep listening to all these
yes,
gospel
yes,
voices that are telling
and
us
we
we
yeah.
can't do it. And who do you think you are? And you don't know anything about that. Yeah, we're listening to all of that.
We get distracted and we start listening to those voices, oh,
Hmm.
and you know what, we start sharing it with people, and then some people
Hmm.
ain't happy about what you're trying to do.
All right.
i've
And,
learned i've learned
we
look at
get
that,
stuck.
I've learned I've
We
learned
get stuck also because we haven't seen anybody else do it.
well
Nobody in our
I
family's ever done that. We don't know any. We don't know
I
anybody. So,
I've always seen people who share their stories. I've always seen,
mhm.
because I worked where I had to go in front of people. I was, whether I was fundraising for, the kids. I did a program called oh Lord, Kids Cafe. It was with the Low
Mhm.
Country Food Bank. And so
Uh-huh.
it was for me, it's something I love. I love a challenge. I love to help people to see, let me put you in their place. Let me take you to a place so you can understand what's going on and you could be sensitive towards it, and then encourage them. If you have, and we all have the ability to assist in anything, what can you do? What are you willing to do? And that's what Chronicles is about. And I said, it's a story. Everyone has a story. I don't care who you are, everyone has a story. And I think about, well, the enemy will feed and bait you. And I just want to encourage someone who's listening. I don't care what you've done. There is nothing too hard that God will not forgive if you just
Right.
surrender it over to him. Think about, I tell people in a minute, and if you can, someone can tell me about it today, please let me know. Besides Jesus, tell me anybody else who walked this earth who is perfect. Let me know. I need chapter, I need
Amen.
book, chapter, and verse. And if
Thank
you
you.
cannot give me that, and start with the person in the mirror first, okay? Then
Mhm.
you got a compelling argument as far as I'm concerned.
I'll take it a step further. Show me also anywhere in the Bible where it says thinking they know better, thinking that they know what God knows. He don't have a personal assistant. He does not have a virtual assistant. He did not ask for your assistance or help or any of that. You
Exactly.
cannot be telling others what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Not
That's
only
God's job. Only God knows what's in our heart, and
only him. He
He
sent
knows
Jesus.
He knows what He put in us.
Exactly.
He knows how it's
Exactly.
gonna look. So all that judging and whatnot that you're doing out there, yeah,
Yeah,
keep it
the
cute or
way I
keep it
say,
mute.
huh?
Keep it cute or keep it mute.
Oh, I like that. Keep it cute or keep it
Do
mute.
you know?
I'm gonna have to use that.
You know what? That came long time ago. I saw the movie Players Club. I think it was Players Club.
Yes, yes, I remember
And
that movie.
Lisa said that in the movie. I
Keep
believe
it
she said that,
cute or keep
or
it
either
mute.
on yeah, or either on the comedy show that she was in for a while.
Got
Yeah,
you.
she
I
said it.
love
Yeah,
it.
she said it in something, and I remember that all the
I'm not gonna forget. Keep it cute or keep it mute. Oh,
mm-hmm.
wow. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. But God has representative. His representative is the Trinity, and they're all one. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
First there was God, then he sent Jesus, and then
Yes,
Jesus made his disciples to help teach, and then Jesus sent the Holy Spirit for us, because the
right. And we
disciples
each
were
have different
infusing him,
jobs.
and we all, yes, and I am grateful for the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is that little unction, like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. Tap, tap,
Hey,
tap, tap. You're not
this
supposed to be doing that. No,
doesn't feel right.
as
Something's
one
not
of my as
right
my
here.
god nephew said, no, 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 no. So
Now, Chronicles, you have taken Chronicles right into two different platforms now, right? You got two different.
Yeah, well, I use different storyboards. I have different storyboards before I even go there. Um, it's a process. So I
Mhm.
started off with it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. That's one of the things that I speak on. The
Now
platform of
tell us about that.
yeah, it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. It's not your fault of the things that we go through in life. We all have experienced some type of trauma in our life. We all have experienced some type of trauma in our life, and we
Hmm.
do not have
Directly or
and we
indirectly.
don't have control over the type of trauma that we have been into.
Right.
However, it is our responsibility to come out of that trauma. Now, getting tripped is an accident. Staying stuck is a choice. You
Hmm.
could choose to stay stuck in your situation. You could choose to stay stuck. Well, you don't know what he did to me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But guess
And
what?
unfortunately, some people want to stay stuck. They like
Yeah,
playing the
you know
victim.
what? Some
They
people
like
get
playing the victim. Hmm.
but it goes into we say we want to come out and get delivered and but the truth of the matter is some of us that's all we know is toxicity.
Uh-huh.
And because it becomes comfortable and what
That's
it
our normal.
yeah, it
That's
becomes our
our normal.
norm. It
Hmm.
really becomes our norm, which brings me to my next platform that I talk about: stay out the trash.
Oh wow. Now
Oh yes,
that's powerful.
that comes to the next one. And stay out the trash. Let me go back. The It's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. There's a scripture that goes with that, and that's Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, thoughts of
Hmm.
good and not of evil. So I'm here to tell you that God is a provider. He will use your trash and recycle that joker. He will use whatever you got going on, and he will where the enemy try to use it for your bad, God will use it for your good. So for
Yes.
me,
Won't either.
going through the testimony of the sex addiction, going through the manipulator, the narcissistic behavior I was doing, I finally gave it over to him and let him
Mhm.
have it. And then what do I do? I'm going to speak to me. I'm talking about my truth. What do? We ask God to deliver us, and then we find ourselves right back in the same situation God to deliver us from. So what do we ask ourselves? How did I get back here? Let me tell you something about the enemy. He is cunning, he is wise, and he was like, man, all right, she walking the straight and narrow. She done got delivered. Let's find something. We got to find something. So it's a red alert. Now all the legions are coming together. We got to find
Mhm.
something to infiltrate because we need her to come back. So what do?
Mhm.
They take the same sin, repackage it, and present it. So that's why you have a lot of women who date the same man with a different man with the same
Yeah,
spirit.
dress.
That's
He's
where it
dressed
comes from.
differently.
So
Dressed
stay
differently,
out.
but it's the same. Yeah, same
Yes.
package.
So stay out the trash came
Same
from
package, different wrapping.
exact. I like that. So you got me right now, girl. I like that one right. So now we're at a point now we didn't got it. It's not our fault anymore. We're trying to move forward, but we notice we're going backwards. We notice we're going backwards. Let me tell you something about pain and addiction. It becomes such a security blanket for us that even when we ask God to deliver us and he honors our prayers, you know what happens when he honors our prayers and take us out of that toxic situation? It's new. And what
Scared
do
of the
we do when
unknown.
we go
Yeah,
in something new? We be like, wait a
scared
minute.
of the
I
unknown.
don't, yeah, I don't know what this
I don't
is.
know this.
This don't
I don't know
feel
nothing.
right.
I don't
Listen,
know nothing
this
about
don't
this.
feel right. So what do we
Yeah,
do?
go
Pain,
back.
insecurity, be like that. Come on,
We go
Gina.
back.
I
Yeah, go
got
back to
you,
the
girl.
familiar.
I don't mean
Mhm.
you any good, but I'm faithful. I'm always be here for you. And then what do? We go back. It's just like Oscar from Sesame Street. For those who are familiar with Sesame Street, we know
Woo!
where did Oscar live? In the
In the
trash can.
trash.
In the trash can. One day, they got Oscar a new trash can, and Oscar went in a new trash can. Oscar was not
It's
familiar with
just,
this
yeah.
surrounding.
He
Oscar
just
was not
couldn't.
comfortable with his new surrounding. So you know what
Mm-hmm.
Oscar did? Oscar
Went
went
back to
right
his
back
old
to the
track.
old trash can. And
Mm-hmm.
that is what we do as people. We have a tendency of asking God to deliver us from something. And when he answers, instead of moving forward out of faith, we go back out of fear. And I'll give you the scripture that goes to that. It's Second Peter, second chapter, 20th to 22nd verse. And I'm going to paraphrase, but everyone, please read your scripture, read the Bible. You asked me to deliver you, I deliver you, and you gonna go back to what you asked me to deliver you from? What you asked me for? You worse off for not knowing. You know, you worse off knowing and went back. There's someone not knowing. And it goes back to the classic proverbs of a dog that goes back to eat its vomit. Whew. Every
Mm-hmm.
time I say that, it makes me it makes me feel some kind of way.
You know what else I discovered dogs eat since
But
I've been pet sitting? They will eat their own poop too.
yeah, yes, that's true.
I was floored the first time I saw that. Oh my God.
Yes, that is very true. A
Oh
dog does
my
eat its
God.
own poop. I'm like, oh my gosh. But
Mhm.
as people, we do the same thing. We do the same things. And I said, I just shared this with someone last night and today. And I remember like having a really good reality check. And I was fussing with someone I was dealing with. And he said, Sheena, why should I change? You just take me back anyway. Smack!
Wow.
That
Wow.
was like a smack, and you just hold it right there. He smacked me and
Wow.
held it right there. And I said, oh my
Wow.
God.
That's just like the example of like when a woman lives with a man for so many years and then she wonder why is he
He's
never
not
asked to
married.
marry her.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Because we
Why?
don't, because
Why
we
did you need to
don't.
marry you? You're pretty much living
Exactly.
that life anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. So that thing just sunk to me. I mean, that thing just like
Wow.
and I always
You
have something to
know,
say. I couldn't even come back on that because I realized that was the Holy Spirit telling me, hey, you're not trying to understand any kind of way. Let me put it in a language that you can
that you
understand.
can
And
understand, yeah.
so
Let me
ever
put it
since
bold
then,
and in your face like you did.
yes, honey, it was like a slap and come right back,
Mhm.
follow up. But
Slap
I
and then a back slap.
exactly, exactly. So stay out the trash is exactly that. It is staying out the trash. What is it that's keeping you or hindering? It goes back to that spirit of familiarity. See, the enemy studies us. He knows, especially as women, what we like, what we want, and what we
Yep,
will compromise ourselves for
yep,
if we're not careful. And he
yep,
knows that we are nurturers. So we love love. We love to
yeah,
be in relationship. We love to
yep.
whatever. And he will use that. He will
Hmm.
use that to lure us in.
Hmm.
Lure us
And
in.
until we learn to do something
Yeah.
new, not just
Yes.
knowing it, doing it, practicing
Exactly.
it,
And
until we learn to do something new,
yes.
we can keep going back to what we know.
Exactly. And I'm at a point in my life at this 5 years, I have gone through some growing pains.
Hmm.
Oof, I have gone through some growing pains, and I was just talking to a young lady, encouraging a young lady. I said, when the enemy is not messing with you, be very concerned. But when the
Yes,
enemy is messing with you, that's because he's
something's
trying to
coming, baby.
distract you from
Yes,
what's going to happen.
something
And
seriously coming. Yes.
that's how have to say, I count it all joy. The good,
Yeah.
the bad, the ugly, the happy, and the sad. I count it
Hmm.
all joy because even with this 5 years, I'm always wanting to boom, 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 boom. I didn't do it this time. And God has me in a situation where He's like, I need you to stand still until I tell you to move. Stand
Hmm.
still till I tell you to move.
It's like the pastors that I've listened to have given examples like when to make diamonds, they have to go through the fire. They have to
And
go through the
I
furnace
listen,
to
that's
become
one of
beautiful
the things.
diamonds.
Yes,
Same
I
thing
tell
with
people
gold. It's got
that,
to go through that process to become gold.
honey.
Even
Woo,
wine has to go through the stomping of the grapes and that
yes,
process
and the
to
and the
become
fermenting.
wine. Yes.
Yes.
takes
Yes.
time.
Yes.
You're gonna
Oh,
go through that season. You can't rush it.
you sure
We don't
can.
like it or we hate it, but that's
Yes.
how a lot of times God allows us to go through these things to strengthen us. So we have a story about our glory that we got from Him bringing us. Because when we go through stuff like that, we can never say, if you learn your lesson, you can never say, I did that.
Mm-hmm. You have it's for
You've got to give God the glory. God did that. God brought me
yes.
through that. You can never say, I brought myself through
There you
all that.
go.
You can never, never.
Yes, very much so. But for his glory. It's always for his
Mhm.
glory. It's
Yes.
all, and you're right. Do you not know the pressure that a diamond has to go through? And
Man.
if a diamond has to go through it, what makes us think that we're not? Okay. There's a
Better
process that
yet,
we have to go through.
if Jesus walked the earth and went through all that He went through, how do you
Let me
think we're supposed to escape? And He went through some
let me tell you
stuff
something.
just because He was
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you something. I told someone just today at our women's luncheon, listen, I'm grateful for Jesus. Okay? Because had you left it up to me, all of us gonna suffer because I'm not taking that beat down. All right. That's God knew. God knew exactly who to send and when to send them.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
grateful for Jesus. And I want people to be encouraged. I don't care what you've gone through, what you're going through, and if you ain't lived long enough, what you're going to go
Mhm.
through. There is nothing too hard for God. It's nothing.
Mhm.
And extend yourself grace because you're not going to be perfect. It was
No.
only one perfect person that worked the earth, and then his name was Jesus. And he's already paid the price for us. So
Mhm.
when we sitting here thinking that we're embarrassed, but nobody's not going to understand, let me tell you something. Your story was designed to help someone. God does not bring us through anything without a use for it. So who are
Mhm.
you to keep it to yourself? Now, I always say, do it when you're ready. And sometimes, well, I'm afraid, do it afraid. Do it
Yes,
afraid. Just do it. But
do
every
it.
time you start sharing, you start getting your power back. There is
Yeah,
power in your words. There's
yeah.
power in your story. And when I'm going back to the words, we got to be careful what we say. Well, I can't. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. The question is, do you want to do it? He's
Right,
not going to force us
right.
to do anything because he's so gentle. You
And a
know,
lot of us are waiting on God to do something, not realizing He's waiting on you to do something.
exactly.
You got to do
Exactly.
something first before He can move.
Exactly. That's
And you
called faith.
waiting, right? You waiting
That's
on Him
right.
to no. You got to
You're
do your
right.
part first.
You're
You
right.
got to
And
do your
let me
part
tell you,
first.
they people
Yeah.
like, I don't know a podcast. I didn't know how to do one either. I'm still learning. Okay.
Thank you.
And as a
Thank
result of
you.
this 5 years, I went from Blog Talk Radio, then I went to Facebook Live, then I went to YouTube, then I went to all the social media platform with the exception of Twitter. I'm not a fan of Twitter,
Yeah.
with the exception of Twitter. And it's just coming along and I'm learning day by day, moment by moment. And I'm not overwhelming myself because before I felt like I did. And I just want to tell people, don't overwhelm yourself because God didn't create chaos and confusion and
Okay.
he doesn't. You can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. I'm only
And
one.
to add to that, we need to take our day of rest. So many people
Yes.
feel, I gotta hustle, 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 keep moving, keep doing. Even
Yes.
God rested people, and it wasn't for an hour, it wasn't for a half a day. He rested a whole day.
A
There's
whole
nothing in the
day.
Bible that said on the seventh day he rested from 8 a.m. to 12 noon.
There you go.
He rested from 5
24/7.
p.m. to 7 p.m. No, he rested the
20
whole
whole
day.
day. Yes.
So if
I've
God
learned
can take
that.
a break and rest, so can
Yes.
we.
And let me tell you
Give
something.
yourself grace, like Fouchina said. Give yourself
Exactly.
grace. Take that break.
Yeah, and if not, I will tell you this, and this is going to be a platform that I'm actually working on when we talk about mental health. If we don't allow ourselves or extend ourselves grace, it starts to affect our nervous system. When it
Yeah.
starts to affect our nervous system, it starts to affect the entire body. And that's how we end up with heart attacks, how we end up with
Mhm,
strokes, how we end up
mhm.
with the congestive heart failure. How do I know? experience every last one of them. I think I have 3 or 4 bouts with congestive heart failure. I've had over 5 strokes. I've had 2 heart attacks. I've had 3 blood transfusions. I'm still taking,
Hold on, Fouchina. Go back and say you had over 4 what? Because you froze there. So I don't know if
oh,
they heard.
I've had over 4 bouts of congestive heart failure. I've had over 5 strokes. I've
Wow.
had 2 heart attacks, and
Wow.
I've had 3 blood transfusion. I've had, the list goes on, but I still live to tell the story. And I'm here to encourage you. Stress and unforgiveness played a huge role in that, and it
Yes.
does affect you.
Yes. And what a lot of people don't understand, all that you just described, is how stress shows up. It
Yes.
affects you like that. That's not
Yeah,
something that doctors can see under the microscope.
that's
The
right.
stress is causing that.
I remember I had my gynecologist one time told me, with all the stress you're going through, that's why you're always in the gynecologist. I was
Hmm.
like, wow. And
Yeah,
then
your body tells
yeah,
you something.
your
Your body
body.
sends out those alerts.
Exactly. Exactly. And I have it on my, I'm in my prayer closet, and it's a thing I got to get my glasses now. It's called, let me see. I can't pronounce this thing. It's called. Put this in the chat for me. I'll try to put it in the chat. I forgot what it's called, but it's EPIGEO, epigenetics, something like that. I'm very
What
horrible.
then again? EP,
It's EPIGENETICS.
Okay, EPIGENETICS.
Yes.
Is that
Uh-huh.
epigenetics?
And what it is the study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be very careful, because there's something else that's released, and I'm trying to find it because I'm actually writing a paper on it. I can't find it, but if I find it before I get off, I will. But it's like something that's released out of our body.
Yeah, it's all related to
Uh-huh.
neurotransmitters
Yeah,
and
it
yeah.
is. And we have to be mindful. And I'm going to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't until I started totally surrendering to God. I had to, because I have a tendency of being controlling. God had to check me. I'm not in control. You need to give it to me, and I'll handle it. And so the enemy knows it too. So guess what? Now we have people that's supposed to be, in your corner, not in your corner.
Mhm,
Now you're dealing with betrayal. You're dealing with
mhm,
all kind of stuff,
mhm.
but
And
all of it.
a lot of people do not understand when you say that the devil knows, they're not getting that. Don't forget that the devil used to be like the right hand of God up in heaven before he got cast down. He
He
was
was the
like one
director
of
of
the
music.
highest angels.
He was the
So yeah,
director of
he knows
music.
a lot of what God knows.
He was the director of music.
Yes, God put
He
him in
was a
charge of a lot of things. He had a lot of power up there.
Yes, he didn't like being behind the Lord. That was the
Right.
problem.
Yeah, he got too big for his britches.
Yeah, and decided to take
Mama
his
said,
own
got too
truth.
big for your britches.
Yeah, yeah, he decided to do that. So, well, I
Hmm.
say all that to say is, you have to be careful what you allow in your spirit, what you allow in your ear, what you allow to see. You have to be
Yes.
careful. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until as I'm in this transformation process, because in this transformation process, I really got to see who was really for me and who wasn't really for me. And it hurt,
Mhm.
because these are,
Mhm.
because it's always people who you least expect. And
Yeah.
one of the things I've learned is that people, um, okay, I don't know how to sugarcoat, so I'm not gonna start now. So you have people that are told something, and instead of getting the whole story, they'll just believe what was said. And then I saw a post that talked about, people who don't bother to find out the other side of the story, are just people who felt
They don't
that
want to
way.
know.
That's right. Because they it fits the way they want to feel about you.
Mhm.
And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, that is deep. And I remember
Mhm.
talking to my grandmother. She said, China, you just have, God wants to reveal these things because he has work for you to do. And unfortunately, everybody can't go to the next level. You were with me here, but now that I'm going here,
Right. Yeah.
I can't go there because
Yeah.
the higher
God
you
is like,
go,
that's not, God is like, that's not the journey I'm taking them on. That's for you.
exactly. And
This is not a
I'm
group
grateful.
trip. This is not
Yeah.
a group trip.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the process. The process, Lord
Mhm.
knows. I'm like, I wish you could just give it to me. But then would I have appreciated it or appreciated with him just giving it to me versus preparing me for it? Because
Mhm.
everything is a process, whether we
Mhm.
want to believe it or not, it is a process. And throughout it all, I'm just grateful that I am here to continue to be as a servant for Chronicles.
Mhm.
God is
Yeah.
doing some wonderful things, and if
Yeah.
for what He's prepared me for is really beyond me. I'm just
Yeah.
sitting
And
there.
a
Mhm.
lot of times, some of the things that we've asked for and we think we're prepared for, God hasn't granted yet because He's getting ready for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Where you're
It's
asking to
already
go, you may
done.
not be ready.
It's
He's getting you ready.
already done.
So,
It's
yeah.
already done. But you ain't ready yet. You
You
know,
not ready, or
you not
whoever is
ready yet.
taking
I
you,
know.
whoever
I
is
hear people.
taking
Well,
you to may not be ready.
exactly. And
Mhm.
even when it comes to that significant other, I was like, or being a wife again one day, and I realized I'm not ready to be a wife right now. I'm
Yeah.
getting there. I'm a work in progress. I will say that. But I know, with everything that I have going on, and as he elevates me, I see that I'm getting more and more closer to whether to be that wife. I'm getting more and more closer for where he's taking me, even with the Chronicles platform. I'm
Mhm.
getting more and more closer to what it is because I'm learning how to hone in on him and wait. What I've also learned is the opinions of everybody else is their business. It is not mine. And
And
your
it's that,
opinion
it's
to
just that.
me,
It's your opinion. It's not
exactly.
fact.
Exactly. Whatever you feel about me, honey, I'm good. Honey, I'm good. I really
Mhm.
am good.
And a
And
lot of people are not going to change their minds about you because they've already made up that opinion and they need you to stay either
stuff.
broken or stuck or whatever because that feeds them for whatever reason.
I
Makes them feel
remember.
better about themselves, makes them feel more powerful, makes them feel more strong,
Exactly.
whatever. It's doing
Exactly.
something for them. They don't care about you and
No,
they just
you know
don't.
what I've
They just
learned?
don't.
I call some people spiritual vampires. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about people who siphon off of your
Yes.
goodness, siphons off of
So,
your spirit. They siphon you and leave you empty. And I remember someone say, I
okay.
just like being around blah, 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 blah.
Fouchina, can you repeat that? Because it froze again.
No problem. I just remember I realized that there are spiritual vampires out there. They will siphon your energy, okay, and leave you
Yes. Woo.
lifeless. It's almost like they took their mouth over your mouth, sucked out all the energy and
Mhm.
air, and just left you there.
It's like a
Heavy,
vampire sucking your
yeah,
blood.
like a
Yeah.
vampire does. And I had to learn that you either praying for me or you're preying on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn the difference
Yeah.
between the two. And
And
now,
we have to learn, we also have to learn very painfully, but that can also be family.
oh
A lot of
yes,
times
oh
a lot of
yeah,
times it is family, but that's why we miss it because we're like, well,
oh
family
yeah,
would never do that. They wouldn't do that.
yeah.
Yes, they would.
Yeah, and it's not,
Mm,
yeah, it's
keep
always
going.
those people close to you when you think that they
Yes.
this
And once
time,
you least
you
expect,
think
like you
that
said,
they
the
all
least
for you,
you
and you
expect.
find out you've been using me. You've been using
Yes,
me.
for
You know,
years, okay, for
years.
years.
Exactly. And then I want to say, take a look at us. What have we done? All of us
Mhm,
find events or times where we have been on the other side of that as well.
mhm.
So we should know because we done got both sides of the fence.
Yes,
No, so
yes.
I really had to learn to come to some self evaluation within
Mhm,
myself and
mhm.
realize that whatever consequence I'm living with now, what role did I play in this?
Exactly,
What
exactly.
role did I play in
Even
this?
if it's something negative or traumatic,
It's true.
you
What is the
played a
truth?
role because you didn't say, no, it's not okay for you to treat me like this. No,
Hmm.
it's not okay for you to. So that nonverbal communication was a loud, clear signal to them.
That they
I
could.
can keep doing this. Yeah.
Hmm. So, I've just learned
Yeah,
that,
it's hard. It's
it really
hard.
is, it's a hard truth. And
Yeah.
I had a situation, as I'm going through this transformation, and I had to really ask myself, are you really surprised? Because the warning signs was already there.
Yes.
Those
If you've been through it, you know the warning signs.
because we hold on to this thing called hope, HOPE.
Yes.
We hope.
Hope he'll change. He'll
Hope
change. He
the
loves me. He'll
change, hope
change.
they did this, and hope
Yes.
is not really true when your reality is we're looking at people for who we feel that they could be instead for who they
Yeah.
really are.
Well, they really are.
And I
They're
believe
showing you
everybody
every
has,
day.
I believe everyone has potential, but when it's
Yes.
habitual, it's no longer potential. And I remember telling a family member this: you can't get upset when someone treats you some kind of way when you give them the access to do it. You already know what's going on. And as people, we know what's going on and we don't say nothing or we allow it. And it goes back to what that
Hmm.
gentleman said to me: why should I change? You just would take me back anyway. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing going
Hmm.
back, I just,
Yes. That
I'm
is so
grateful.
powerful. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Yeah. I'm grateful for grace and mercy, but I'm most of all grateful for his unconditional love. And when I started loving the ones, I tell you, one of the hardest things I am still learning is how to love people who absolutely mean me no good.
Hmm.
How to love people when you know they got your name out in the street.
I
How
think
to
we're all learning that. We're all still
Yes,
struggling with that, girl.
yes,
Mm.
how to love people when they throw you under the bus. How to love people when they put your name out there so badly. And then
Mm.
not only that, how to love the ones who wants to digest that without getting the truth. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
one thing you said this earlier, I can't control what people think, say, or do.
Right.
So my attitude now is
How
all
you
I want to
respond.
do is live for the Lord. All I
Hmm.
want to do is hear at the end, job well done, thy good and faithful servant, you may enter. And that's
Yeah.
all I care about now. And
Yeah.
anytime, and I give it to God. I was like, I feel like this is a trap. I feel like this is
Hmm.
whatever God said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. You
Yep.
just do right by me, and
Hmm.
I'll take care of the rest. Don't you
And
say one word.
like you said, it's a work in progress. Every day
Yes.
we have to work toward that goal. Every
Mhm,
single day. It's
mhm,
not a one and done.
mhm. No, you're right. I
It's not
tell
I can do
people,
it for 1 year and then I'm good to go. Yeah, no, it's
no,
every
no,
day of your life, every day.
exactly.
And you're gonna fall short. You're gonna make mistakes because, like you said, we're not perfect. God doesn't
No,
expect us to be perfect.
not at
We're
all.
too busy listening to society telling us how something should be done and what their version of perfect is and what it should look like and
Mhm.
the job you should have and the car you should drive and the house you should have. Keep
We
that
have
up.
a lot of that in
You
Atlanta.
gonna be broke as a joke. Keep it up.
Yeah, you can't trying to hang with them
Keep it up.
Joneses if
Trying
you
to
want
hang with the
to.
Joneses.
Listen, you don't know how the Joneses got their stuff.
The Joneses can't afford their house, but they still have it. Okay.
Look,
They
got
got
a
bills
Tesla
to
and
pay for every
yeah.
month. You don't know that. They don't tell you that, and they don't.
Eh,
You don't see that.
honey, let me tell you something.
Careful what you ask for.
I do collections, okay? Doing it for years, but this type of collection is automobile. I am baffled. I'm truly blown away about the people that will pay money for these cars. I said, for what? I'm
It's
sitting there
crazy. Car
baffled.
notes are ridiculous. It's
Oh,
like that's
honey,
almost a
when I tell you
month's.
something,
Almost a
when
month's
I
mortgage.
yes, I said almost $2,000 a month for a car. Oh, okay.
Pardon me.
Woo!
Mm-mm.
I'm just, but I'm not knocking. If you want to do that, that's on you. But all I'm
It is.
saying is I'm just baffled because, I'm always hearing the stories and or this and that, and people blaming other people. No, no one made you get that.
Ain't nobody held a gun to
That
your
was your
head.
choice. That was your choice. But
Mhm.
it's funny, but that's the way we are with people. We have a tendency of blaming everybody but the man in the
Always
mirror.
somebody else.
It's
Yes,
always
always somebody
somebody
else's
else's
fault.
fault. Or you will
Hmm.
try to justify the stuff that you do. I'm just
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
done with that too. My attitude
Hmm.
now is, okay, oh,
I don't. Yeah, I'm done with that too. I don't want to hear that
oh,
because you
okay.
for you to justify it, especially if it's true, then you know what's going on with you, but you're still not doing anything about it.
Exactly. So don't get upset with
You
me.
can't use that as an excuse, and don't get upset with me because I no longer accept it as an excuse.
Exactly.
You got to do
Exactly.
something now. Yeah, I understand that you
Yeah.
went through that and that's how you were raised and you went through this and that and that. Okay, I
That's
get
no
all that.
excuse. That's
But
no,
now you're a
that's no
grown
excuse.
adult. What are you going to do
Yeah.
about it to
When
help
you know
yourself?
better, you do better. And we're all guilty. When you know better, you
Yeah.
do better. Other than that, you're just like a hamster on a wheel. But it
Hmm.
goes back. We talked about, if it's not my fault, but it's my responsibility, stay out the trash. As a
Hmm.
result, I stepped out on faith again.
All
I
right.
always knew that I wanted to help other women. So I did my first event, Step Out on Faith, and
That's
did my first
right.
event.
Yes.
I did
That
my
was like
first
too long
event.
ago, right?
That was in March, and that was in Charleston, South
Yes.
Carolina. Well, actually,
Okay.
it's Ladson outside of Charleston. Um, we it was called Trash Talk, and it just so happened was to two other people that we all grew up in the same neighborhood growing up, not knowing that we were all with you all, two of them, that we were all going because we lived in the same apartment complex and was dealing with our secrets at the same time and did not know. And when she heard me tell my story, she told me hers, and then she came on Chronicles to tell hers. And as a
All right.
result of it, we just talked about, doing something. And I just remember, it took about a year for us to plan it, but I just remember getting that boop, that knock on the door, and that was
Hmm.
God knocking. It's time. And I sure
Time.
did. I put what did I do? I'm always committed when I put that date in. I went and found out, hey,
Yeah.
y'all, this, y'all
Yeah.
available. Okay, we're doing trash talk on this date. And I said, okay, God, I've never done this before. I'm scared. And you know what? I'm gonna leave it in your hands. We got sponsors, the sponsorships. I'm so grateful for it. I'm just gonna have to put them out there. I have Cash Flow Clyde, and he's actually, we went to college together. He was one of my sponsors. I had Miss Shishi of Shishi, New York, and I had Mr. Daryl, and Daryl, I forgot, he does African attire wear. I had Monica Wright, and she's a realtor. I had Miss Donica Gaston. She has a bakery. She does it. A Donica Mama Sweet Treat. I'm trying to make sure. I have some sponsors that don't want to be named, and they were
Mhm.
huge sponsors. I had my cousin Treg. She was one of my biggest supporters. She was one of my big sponsors. With all the sponsors that I had Miss Raw Self Care, and she was on the show, and she's powerful too, honey. Um, I just had some very good people who actually believed in what I was doing, and I'm
Mhm.
so grateful for it.
And
And
that's what
it
you
was,
need. And see, support will
uh,
come in a
yeah,
different package that you're not expecting at all.
totally. If we were able to, first of all, the event was sold out, and actually, and it brought people together. It was like a
Mhm.
big reunion because I went to school
Mhm.
in Charleston County and Berkeley County, and it brought a lot of the Charleston County. In fact, I hope I don't tear up on this one. So one of the people that participated was a very dear friend of mine for years, and we got into a bad falling out. We didn't talk for years, and she surprised me at the event. And that it was at that moment because I always tell God, never bring me back to somebody when we're both not ready. Bring us back
Mhm.
when we're ready. And her name is Nikki Nicole McLean. And when we saw each other and we just reconnected, it was like we never had a falling out, never.
Mhm.
And we got a chance to come together and be together for some weeks. And then the night before she passed, I'll never forget. I remember like it was yesterday, April 13th. of this year. We were talking, but her whole demeanor was just so different. She had buried her mother, and I knew Mother's Day was coming, and she took the death of her mother really hard.
Mhm.
But we were talking. I just can't explain it. It's just one of those things where God was actually preparing me. And so I spoke with her later on that night. I think I might have spoke to her for like 4 hours on the phone. I had a coaching call to do for someone, and it was actually one of my sponsors. And I said, "Hey, do you mind if I call back?" And I spoke with her that night, and she was expressing me what was going on with something in Charleston. And I said, okay, I'll call you back on tomorrow, which was Sunday. I called her back, no answer. So it was like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, no answer. I'm like, huh, that's weird, because she always calls me right back or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I
Mhm.
got a text from one of the speakers, one of my good friends. I didn't pay attention to the text at first. I was like, oh, that's a pretty picture of Nikki. You know, she was a model. And then I saw the same post on Facebook, and it was her son saying that she passed away. That
Wow.
thing just sucker punched me
Mhm.
much. And I was
Mhm.
so heartbroken over it. I was like, God, we just got back together. It was just like, and when we got back together, it was like we never fell apart. But you were preparing me for this right here.
Mhm.
And she said, don't forget April 13th. And I was like, okay, I won't forget it. And she's on my picture. If you go on my profile pic, she's the lady in the front with a silver head wrap. But when I say, you know, when they used to say you ride or die, she was definitely one of them people. She's one of them people. If something went down, hey, I said, okay, I'll be right here. I'll have the door open. Just jump in the car, we out. So, you know, but I'm just so happy that God allowed me the opportunity for us to come back together collectively and make us stronger than before. So
Mhm.
I'm just I miss her, and I'm having one of my moments, but I do miss her. But it just helped me to really realize that life is so short. You know, what I've
Mhm.
learned is sometimes you got to put people in different places in your life. And I
Right.
also realized who was really for me and who was not for me. That's what
Mhm.
I've learned a lot. And that includes family as well. So
Yeah.
what I've learned is you can still love someone. You just have to
From
be,
a distance.
yeah, you have to do it.
From
You
a
know, you have to
distance.
put the
Yeah.
line in the sand, but you still got to love them. You can't go
Yeah.
around with the animosity. And I can't stand people when they get upset, then they want to talk. What are you doing there? You know, I tell people, when you tell me something, it goes to the grave, period. And I don't care if we like each other, we don't like each other. It goes to to the grave. But what I've learned is you can't control people. You just gotta let
Right.
them do them. And people who don't want to accept whatever they do or take accountability, you don't have control over that too. But you do have
Yeah.
control over you.
Over
Okay.
you. Mhm.
And you don't have to go backwards, because you know the enemy, like, I told you so and so and so and so, you know. And how I look at it like this: when I'm doing something or I'm trying to do something, I look at it like this: if I fail, okay, I feel like Satan is telling God, I told you she wasn't going to do it. I told you.
Mhm.
But then Jesus come and be like, you know what? My grace is
One for
sufficient.
my side.
Yes, my
Mhm.
grace is sufficient. That's all right. She tripped, but she gonna come back. So
Right.
if I can encourage anyone today, all I want to say is, just know, when you ask God to take you to new levels, He is going to put you through a process, because He
Mhm.
can't give it to you right then and there, because we're not in the mindset or the space to receive what He wants us to do. And sometimes
Mhm.
it's going to be the closest thing that you think that it's going to go to the next level. And God was like, no, because I see what
Mhm.
they say behind your back. I hear what they say behind.
Yeah.
I see what they're doing. And no, they cannot come. And you know what? The only thing you could do is, people know me for one thing: I love to smile. I will smile, 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 even when I'm, and as women, we do that, especially Black women. We wear smiles all the time and can be going
Mhm.
through the most stuff. But what I've learned throughout this 5 year process is my grace is sufficient. His grace is sufficient. And when we call on Him, He will answer. He will answer. That's all I got to say.
Okay, so so like are you planning another event for either one of the platforms? Is there something coming up? Do you, are they
Yes.
annual events or
I did speak with the ladies and we decided, and the people who attended the trash talk, and we decided to make it annual. So we will
Mhm.
do trash talk again next year, March 15th, 2025.
Okay,
And
let me put that in the chat.
mhm,
Okay, March 15th, right?
2025. And we do it with brunch because I'm a Southern girl.
Yes,
I
love
love
brunch.
to eat.
That's my favorite meal.
Yeah, brunch. I
And
love it.
Charleston,
Yeah, so it'll be as tentatively we will say Charleston, but wherever God leads us. But the original place I was going to do it, I'm being led not to do it. I like things that's very intimate and very simple, and so I we will get back with the location on that. As far as this year is concerned, I am going to be doing. I'm hosting another event. It's going to be November 16th. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but it's the third weekend in November.
okay.
And I'll
Hold on,
be
let me look on I can look on the computer calendar and tell you what that.
mhm.
Come on. Okay, so I put that one up there for November.
In fact, I'm on my calendar.
November what? The second,
No.
the
Oh,
third,
actually, it's November 14th. It is the no, I'm sorry, that's December. That's
Thursday.
what happens when you don't have your glasses on. It will be November 8th. Is that the 16th? Yeah.
16th,
November 16th.
Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
Okay, so that's the third Saturday in November.
It's the third Saturday of November. And we'll be doing another brunch.
That's for what? Which one? Is that for trash talk too?
No, Trash Talk is March of next year.
March
This
15th.
one will be
This one is.
okay.
This
So
one is. This one is what? Because I'm putting it in the chat.
yeah, I'm just wait. Okay, I was just pausing. Okay, so
There's a-
right now I would say no. I'm gonna say right now. It's going to be. It's not my fault, but it is my responsibility.
Okay. And where's that one?
It's going to be in Georgia. I would to be announced as far as the details concerned. Um,
Okay.
I don't have the address. I think I finally locked in the venue, but there's one other venue that I'm looking at right now. It will be a brunch. It will be open up to about 30, maybe 50 people only.
Okay.
Hmm. So I'm already excited because I already have a sponsor.
All right.
I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I already have a sponsor and I already have my caterer who is going to cater it. Now, the my caterer from South Carolina, I'm looking for. I told, listen, I'm booking you for next year. Just go ahead and clear your calendar. But it was an
Wow.
awesome event. It was an event with people, and I refer to Trash Talk, where people we actually got together. And if I can't even describe, I said when I wanted an environment where people feel comfortable and safe and feel where they will feel safe to be vulnerable. And it
Mhm.
was it was everything and more than what I expected. Just
Now, the picture that I put in Facebook for the thumbnail, that was from the trash talk
yes,
event.
yeah, that was actually from the Trash Talk event. That was our group
Mhm.
picture, minus
That's
maybe
a
2 or 3
beautiful
people.
picture. Beautiful.
It was just awesome, and I'm just grateful, and I just want to say a thank you for everyone who supports me in my endeavors, just allowing God to use me, trusting and believing in what I'm doing and being my cheerleader when I want to give up, when I just want to get frustrated. I listen. Someone once said, "People who love you must really love you." And I said, "Why you say that?" He said, "Because you got a personality like it's nothing." And I said, I can be temperamental. I can be." And I said, "But those who knows me well knows my heart is
You know
very
your
genuine."
heart. Thank you.
When
Thank
I
you.
say I'm one of those people, I'm laser focused. Like even
Hmm.
when I'm doing an event, I'm laser focused because my mind is I want to make sure they have this. So I like structure this and this and this, and that's how I'm looking for it to go. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because we've been invited to speak on other platforms, and I'm so excited about what's going on. Chronicles is just growing, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna need some help. Yeah, I'm gonna need some help. And so, he's been
Good.
he's providing that slowly but surely. But he's been really doing a work in me. And let me just say, I've been allowing him to do the work in me.
Yeah,
And when you
that's the
allow
key. That's
him
the
to
key
do it,
right there.
yeah,
Yes.
when you allow him to do it, he will do it. So I just want to thank you for inviting me. It's funny because I hadn't even posted anything about the 5th year anniversary yet. Because it's, it's actually today, 5 years,
5
and
years today.
yeah, I want to say a special shout out to one of my dear friends, my sister, Karen Denise Jones. She's like, she is the one that be like, you don't give up, or she'll get quiet, or she'll be like, okay. But she's always supportive. And if something is not right, she'll tell me, and so many people I can thank, but she was
Mhm.
like A1 from day one with what was going on with me.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so people can find you on Facebook, YouTube. Where else?
On Facebook, they can find me under Fouchina Kirkendoll.
Hmm.
And let me do this. On Facebook and Instagram, they can find me under Fouchina Kirkendoll and Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. I have 2 pages on those sites.
Fouchina Kirkendoll and Chronicles.
Of a Favorite Woman.
Chronicles of a Favorite.
They can
Okay.
also they'll also find me on LinkedIn, and that's under Fouchina Kirkendoll. And so LinkedIn, Thread is one other. LinkedIn, Thread, and TikTok. It would just be my first and last name.
So LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok, they can find you under Fouchina Kirkendall.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I think I got it.
Yes. So the show comes on every Sunday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always catch the replay because I
Okay, so
realize 9:30 is late, but then that time was given to me for a reason. I tell people all the time, I have a son and I'm a mother
mm,
first. So once the
yep,
child is down, then I
that's
can give
right.
yeah, I could be a servant to others.
Yeah. So
So
every Sunday at 9:30, right?
p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern, so 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, and that's on.
YouTube Live.
That's on
Actually,
YouTube Live.
it's actually YouTube and Facebook Live is what you will see it.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
YouTube
Facebook.
and Facebook. Okay, perfect.
Hmm. And
Perfect.
you could always come back and look at the replay. Every morning I try to do a post. I used to do it live, and
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
yes,
That's
good
her,
morning.
y'all. I know y'all seen her. I know y'all seen her. Good morning, good morning, good morning,
Good
good morning.
morning.
All
Yes. So, and someone just asked me about that this past weekend, and I said it becomes taxing. So I'm asking y'all to help me with it because I do miss it. I do
Yeah,
miss
it
it
can
a
be a
lot.
lot. It can be a lot.
Yeah, and everybody they remind me of that. So I do miss it. So and until the time I'm released to do it again, I always do daily posts.
Mhm.
I usually do it. Sunday's about the only day that I really don't do it because I let them marinate throughout the week. But I
Mhm.
usually do daily posts because people always need. I know for me it's encouraging, so I just like to encourage people as much as I possibly can, but I will be back to doing live when God releases me to do it.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so, so much for joining me again today, especially on your 5 year
Whoop,
anniversary.
whoop,
Thank
whoop,
you
whoop,
for that.
whoop, whoop.
It's, we'll definitely be back in touch, keep in contact, and I definitely want to have you on again when you do your event in November and the one in March of next year. Is that March of
Next
next
year.
year?
That's next
Yeah.
year. Hmm.
Yeah. Definitely want to come back and hear from those. Maybe you can bring some guests with you, and we can do
Almost
an interview with all
definitely.
of we can do an interview with all of them, and let them speak from their perspective of
Most
what they
definitely.
gained and what they've learned, how it made them feel, and all that. So that'll encourage other women to attend, come
Yes.
out, talk, share their story. Yeah. So
What I love most about it is I love networking. There's power in networking. I said you never know what's out there until you start
exactly.
mixing
You
in
have
with
to
it.
talk about it. Yeah.
As a
That's
result of
why
it,
I got a lot of resources and information for my son
yes.
when he first started with his ADHD in the school and going through
Hmm.
that whole process. I got a lot of that from other parents on the job and had no
Yeah.
idea
Hmm.
that their kids were ADHD and autistic and all that.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
just invaluable resources and information I
Exactly.
got because I actually talk. Because it never dawned on me that,
Yeah. Yeah.
learn it
Yeah.
here.
Hmm. But you don't know until you open your mouth.
No. Mm-mm.
And not until you open your mouth. And let's face it, even with her story, that's how we got together. And 5 years later, look, 3 years later, look at us now, doing our
Yeah.
own thing and collectively coming together, because that's really what
Mhm.
it's all about. I am really about uplifting our women and not tearing our women down. You know,
Yes.
if
Yes.
there's an issue, let's squash it. Let's come to the table. Let's everybody come to the
Let's
table,
talk. Yes,
deal
let's
with
talk.
it and squash it. But all
Talk.
this, conversation
Going around and being mad, and I don't even know what you're mad at.
exactly. You got A and B conversation, B and C conversation. Look, let's all of us just come together. When you put all the liars in the room, the truth will come out.
Thank you. Ding,
Okay.
ding, 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 ding. Yep. So,
Thank you
um,
for having
yeah,
me.
we're definitely going to stay in touch because I would love to have your people come on my mental health cruise that I'm putting together, my group
Oh,
cruise. And
nice.
yes, I would love to have them come. So
You
I'll
said
keep
a
you posted.
cruise?
Cruise, yes, ma'am.
Oh,
That's my jam right there. If I could put everything on a cruise, I'm going to be putting
everything
everything
is
on a
there.
cruise.
I'm getting ready to take my son on his first
Exactly. You don't have to plan anything. It's all planned. All
cruise. No,
you do is choose. You pick and choose from the menu,
exactly.
but it's
Exactly.
already there.
Just
I
come
love it.
and
I
relax.
love it.
Yeah,
Love
give me the date
it.
on
And
that so I can
a,
put it on my calendar.
a cruise is perfect for neurodivergent brains like me with ADHD or people with autism and epilepsy and all that stuff. It's perfect for us because it keeps our brains engaged. Our brains have to stay stimulated. A ship
Mhm,
is the perfect playground for that. And
mhm,
because kids learn through play, what better
mhm.
playground than a ship?
That's right. And then there's
Better
a
playground
part
than a
of the
ship.
cruise for the kids. So if you have
They
kids,
have their own groups, the
yep.
clubs, and the teens can go in one club, and the preteens go in another, and the babies go in another. So the
Mhm.
parents can have their own time, and it's perfect. So yeah, look out for that because I've got groups plural coming
Awesome.
up.
Awesome.
Coming up.
Count me
Yes,
in.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So, all right, lady. This has been a wonderful, wonderful session. You
Thank
go
you.
enjoy the rest of your evening. Give that baby boy a hug. And
I
again,
will.
congrats on your 5-year anniversary.
Thank you. To God be
All
the
right.
glory.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, this is the ADHD Cutie, and we are gone. And as I say at the end of my YouTube channels, please be kind to your mind and to others.
Oh, I love that.